and welcome to Unity of Wilmington. We are here with you live on Facebook, or if you're watching it later, we're still on Facebook, and we are happy and honored that you have chosen to take this time to be in spiritual community with us. Unity of Wilmington is part of a worldwide spiritual movement that builds consciousness, and there is no time like the present to build a consciousness of love, of joy, and of peace. In Unity, we build consciousness using practical spiritual tools that we learned from the master teacher Jesus, as well as other spiritual masters who have been with us throughout all time. One of the powerful spiritual tools that Unity of Wilmington begins service with every Sunday morning is using that tool of affirmation. Using that tool of affirmation not to make something true, but to remind us of the truth of who and what we are. The first affirmation that we share on a Sunday morning is that I am a beloved expression of God. Would you say with me, please? I am a beloved expression of God. And with that affirmation, I'm hoping that you remember that you are whole, that you are perfect, and you deserve the very best of life. God would have it no other way. I wouldn't, you wouldn't, we wouldn't want to have it any other way. The second affirmation is that we're here for a holy purpose. It's a purpose of healing, and I mean it. It's a purpose of healing. And what are we healing? We're restoring our minds to the truth. We are healing our souls deeply to remember how important connection is to humanity. We are here for and with each other, and what more holy purpose could there be? So let's say our affirmation, I am here for a holy purpose. Together, I am here for a holy purpose. And the third affirmation is that we're at the right place at the right time right now. Even if you're going stir crazy, or even if you're wiping your brow going, whew, I don't have to go out today. Wherever you are in the right place by divine appointment. So let's affirm that together. I'm in the right place at the right time right now. We make all of these statements with integrity because in unity, in our paradigm, in our belief system, we believe that there's only one presence and one power, a presence and power we call God. We affirm this as our statement of being. Let's affirm this together. It's up on the screen behind me as we get ready for a time of prayer. Together, there is only one presence and one power, active in the universe and in my life, God, the good omnipotence. And it is with a breath out, a sigh of relief, the strength of assurance that we come back into alignment with our divinity and with the immensity of the divine. For as we are one with divine mind, we have all that we need, we have all that we require, and we have the remembrance of how to be in connection with each other, to be a light, a candle, a lighthouse for one another. This is the very essence of our being. So in community with assurance and faith that all is well and unfolding as it should, we say thank you and amen. Thank you, Farah. Thank you, Farah, so much for being with us. And thank you to the 41 people in this moment who are watching live, who are truly a super deeply rooted, connected part of Unity of Wilmington. I'm so grateful for you. If you are watching for the first time, welcome. Welcome to Spiritual Community with Unity of Wilmington. We're so happy that you are here. We are moving through this service in a whole new way, honoring the parts of it that we can continue. I'm going to invite Tina Vesley to come up and give a reading for us this morning.
Good morning. This is the prayer of St. Teresa, the Little Flower. May today there be peace within. May you trust God that you are exactly where you are meant to be. May you not forget the infinite possibilities that are born of faith. May you use the gifts that you have received and pass on the love that has been given to you. May you be content knowing you are a child of God. Let this presence settle into your bones and allow your soul the freedom to sing, dance, praise, and love. Amen.
We're studying a book by Eric Butterworth today. It's a big book, but we're condensing it down into a smaller portion just for today. The book is called The Universe is Calling. The call of the universe is that call that's deep within us, that is seeking to find the energy of life and to ride the flow of life, to be able to expand into it, to live fully from that place no matter what is going on in the world. And for right now, learning to have that skill is a very important thing. To be able to step into the flow of life and to know that we are actually the very flow of life is vitally important. We can talk about it as that dynamic, infinite presence that is within us all the time. We were born with that presence. And our job is to learn how to live as fully as we can in that presence, to stand up into it, whatever name we call it. Some people call that presence God. Some people call that presence source energy. It might be the infinite to you. It might be all that is. It might be your higher power. Whatever it is for you is what is moving in you. That is the call of the universe. How will you answer that call? How will you answer that call? How we answer that call makes all of the difference in the world. When in the midst of stress, having to have social distance between each other, which is something that actually, as we connect heart to heart, is difficult. It creates separation. And so to be requested to have that distance, we begin to have this longing and this loneliness for meeting up with others of like mind. We begin to have this sense of longing within us. But what we sometimes forget is that that dynamic, infinite presence is in all of us. So when we tune in, when we go within, then what we can do is be with all people as we are in that experience. The call of the universe is that call to experience the presence of God, or whatever you call God, to experience that presence within you, to have that experience, because it's that experience that shifts our energy. And it's that time of sitting in that experience that assists us in shifting the energy. When we're in the energy of stress, when we're in that anxiety, the fear that you may feel when you go out to go to the grocery store, when you go out to do the essential things that we need to go out and do sometimes, and you feel that energy of fear, when we're able to come home to our hearts, when we're able to come back to that experience of love, because the infinite presence is love. It is the very energy of love. When we're able to do that out in the midst of the fear, we're making a difference because we're radiating love rather than fear. When we get into fear, when we have the hormones of stress that are moving through our body, what happens is we narrow our focus. We get very concrete. We begin to feel separate, and we begin to see limited rather than unlimited possibilities. The call of the universe is to, within the midst of all this, to begin to recognize the unlimited potential that is within us. We're being called in these times to create new ways of being. We're doing it right here. We're creating new ways of connecting. We may be doing it through Zoom. We may be doing it through text messages. We may be doing it through telephone calls or emails. But we're learning how to connect in a way that's not necessarily in person. But how can we answer that call of connection without being in person? So I want you to take a moment and tune into your heart. And tune into your heart center and think about someone you love beyond a shadow of a doubt. Someone that you care deeply about. And let the vision, let your imagination bring forth their image in your mind. And notice what happens in your body and in your heart. Can you feel the expansion of your heart? Now bring another person into that. So it's you and two people. And see, notice, simply notice, is your heart expanding even further? And then what might you want to say to these people? Is it, I love you? Is it, wow, I'm so glad I can pull you up in my imagination. I can hear your voice in my imagination. I can feel what it feels like to be in your presence. Letting that joy flood through your body. And then breathing, consciously breathing it so that it's circulating in every single cell of your body. When we can do this, we can call upon the powers that are within us already. The capacities of God, the full capacities of God are within us already. And we can call on those in all moments of stress. We can call on those same capacities in all moments of joy, so that as we are moving through these times, while there is stress, while there is anxiety around us, we can stay centered in our oneness with whatever you call God. We can stay centered so that the waves of fear that may come upon us are simply something we feel and let go, just like a bus we don't want to get on. Now, Eric Butterworth says there is a cosmic counterpoint in infinite mind to every human need, along with the desire to feel that need. There's a cosmic counterpoint in infinite mind. So we must be having the experience of being tuned into the infinite mind that is within us to find the solution. It's very much like Einstein says, we cannot solve a problem at the level that the problem was created. We have to up-level our frequency. We have to come into a new frequency. And when we come into alignment, into oneness with divine mind, then we're up-leveling our frequency so that the ideas, that counterpoint idea that Eric Butterworth is talking about, is available to us. Eric Butterworth goes on to say in many of his books that we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. What that means is we see the world through the lenses of our own consciousness. And when our consciousness is having the experience of oneness, we're going to see the world very differently than when our consciousness is having the experience of fear. How do we stay in that consciousness of oneness? We spend time in prayer. We spend time in meditation. We have an experience. We allow ourselves to sit in meditation or sit in prayer. Not to let the monkey mind be running around, but to learn how to settle it, to focus on our heart. That's the easiest way to settle it. To sit and watch those thoughts go by, but not grab hold of them, not take a hold of them. Instead, bring our energy back to our hearts, because we know that where we place our attention is where we're placing our energy. And so if we're placing our attention on fear, then fear is going to be the thing that expands, the energy that expands. But if we're placing our energy on love, if we're placing our energy on infinite potential, if we're placing our energy on faith, then what we will be expanding is that love, is that faith, is that infinite potential. We'll be able then to know that there is an answer to everything that we think is a problem. So I'm going to invite you to also think for a moment, who are you being called to show up as in these tense times? And are you willing to be the one who radiates love in the room? Are you willing to be the one that finds laughter, that seeks the good, that knows peace? Are we willing to show up as the divine beings that we are? We have the capacity within us already. Now we have to call upon those capacities. The Bible teaches, this is a voice translation, your Father knows what you need before you ask Him. Now, we can change that Father piece if that's difficult. That divine, infinite potential, that wisdom that is already within you knows what you need before we already ask. But the knowingness must come from the experience of being in the feeling within us of the presence of God. Being able to tune in, to sit with, to be present with. And sometimes it's hard. In meditation, there are times when I first started that I would set the timer for 5 minutes and it felt like 5 hours. But I would force myself to stay seated, and sometimes it was like a wiggly worm all over the place. I would force myself to stay seated because I knew I was training my body to a new way of being. And even if my mind was running around like a circus, if I continued to focus on my heart and breathe in and out through my heart, there came a day, and it took a while, but there came a day where that 5 minutes didn't feel like 5 hours, it only felt like 3. But eventually it felt like 2 and like 1, and then at some point 5 minutes seemed to go like nothing, and then I began to increase it. Little by little, I didn't rush it. I didn't try for an hour a day in the midst of stress. I began to increase it slowly. I used my capacity of will, the power of will, to begin to assist myself in slowing my mind, in calming and settling my mind, and teaching my body how to sit still in the midst of this time that I was choosing to tune in, to become aware, to have an experience of the divine. So Paul Hasselbeck has written Heart-Centered Metaphysics. What he says is that understanding, wisdom, will, and elimination are the powers that we need to draw on right now. Understanding is for our knowing things. When we call upon our power of understanding, we're able to say, well, my inner knowing suggests this. My inner guidance is leading me here. It's showing me the next right steps. Wisdom is for evaluating what we know. Is this my dynamic, infinite presence speaking to me, or is this my fear speaking to me? Is this the part of me that's in alignment with divine mind, or is this my fear? It takes wisdom to begin to sort that out, and wisdom always goes with love. So as we're in that process of sorting, to be able to surround ourselves with love, to be able to surround others with love in the midst of what's happening, and then we're including all that is in the field. Will is for choosing right thinking, feeling, and acting based on what we know. I'm scared. What would be the right thinking? I am divine. I'm scared. I am safe. I'm scared. I am radiant health. Coming back to the I am that is us when we're frightened, when we're noticing our thinking. Because what happens is, as soon as we start the fear thoughts, the angry thoughts, the sad thoughts, we begin to cascade hormones in our body that are going to loop to more fear thoughts, more scared thoughts, more angry thoughts, more sad thoughts. And we have to interrupt that cycle. And we can do it through our thinking, we can do it through movement, we can do it through sitting in meditation, we can do it through walking meditations, we can do it through eating meditations. We can do it for any way that we're focusing our energy on something that is greater than fear. And that is what the universe is calling us to at this moment. Then we engage in elimination for the releasing those thoughts, those feelings, and those actions that no longer serve us, that are not working for us in this time where we're being called to be separate. We can no longer go back to what was, but we have to focus on what is in this very moment. And to be able to release our resistance through our power of elimination and to move forward with how things are in this moment. And believe me, I understand, because I stood at the window the other day and I had my hands up on the sill and I was saying, let me out, let me out, let me out. And I knew I could go outside, but it was not even anywhere that I wanted to go, but it was that feeling that I was required to stay in my home that was difficult for me. And I knew intellectually that what I was choosing to do was for the greater good. But emotionally, I had feelings come up. So finding ways to release those feelings, to express them in safe ways that are not harmful to myself or others, to release those, and then to move on. Meditation means to become familiar with. We're becoming familiar with that infinite dynamic presence that is within us. And Eric Butterworth would go on to say, as we do that, as we recognize that we are the very flow of life, then we release that imprisoned splendor. We can truly then step into our magnificence and affirm, I am magnificent. Say that with me. I am magnificent. Standing in that place, standing in that knowing, standing in that consciousness of magnificence, then we can move through whatever we need to move through. Allow it to just be in the field without our resistance, because we're calling upon our capacities of God to release that resistance that is within us. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, says, prayer liberates the energies that are pent up in mind and body. Prayer liberates those energies that are pent up in mind and body. Those who pray much create a spiritual aura that eventually envelops the whole body. Have you ever been around somebody and you know when they start to pray, you feel that whomp of energy, you feel their centeredness, and you feel they're grounded, you feel their presence? Have you been around somebody that when you see them, you feel their joy and their happiness, and as you're experiencing a conversation with them, you're uplifted also? This is what prayer does. Now, we can pray in many ways. True prayer actually needs no words, and it's okay if you use words, but true prayer needs no words. True prayer is coming back to that experience of our oneness with God. And if we want to add words, we add them from the affirmative. We add them from the truth of who we are. I am divine. I am a beloved expression of God. I am abundant. I am prosperous. I am radiant health. I am joy. I am laughter itself. I am love. Bringing ourselves back to prayer in a way that supports our centeredness and keeps us in alignment with the one, in alignment with our source energy. Prayer makes a difference. It helps us to raise that frequency, to float above the energy of stress. And when we are in alignment with divine mind, with our prayers, then we watch what feels like magic but is not. It is that unfolding of the energy of the universe. We must change our energy in order to change our behaviors, in order to change our thinking. Charles Fillmore goes on to say that true prayer brings about an exalted radiation of energy. Just what I was talking about. When you're experiencing that joy, it radiates forth from you. So true prayer brings about an exalted radiation of energy. And when it's accompanied by faith, judgment, and love, the word of truth bursts forth in a stream of light that, when held in mind, illumines, uplifts, and glorifies. To glorify means to come into unity with metaphysically. When we're in prayer together, you can feel the energy shift. It settles. The fear, the anxiety begins to settle. And there's this beautiful hum of presence. God is the presence that is always present. And as we hold our energies in prayer, as we hold our minds and our bodies in prayer, we're able to call forth, to live from the consciousness of that energy. What do we do in these trying times? We center ourselves in truth through the practice of prayer and meditation. We answer the call of the universe. We experience our oneness with the dynamic potential that is within us. And we live our lives with faith, utilizing the capacities of God that are within us right now. How do we put this all together? I put it together in an affirmation for us. I center myself in truth through the practice of prayer and meditation. It is through this practice I recognize and experience my oneness with God. I call upon my capacities of understanding, wisdom, will, and elimination to live from a consciousness of wholeness and health. I hear the universe calling, and I respond as love. Let's walk through it, and we'll do it slowly in case some of you cannot actually see the words on the screen. We'll do it line by line. The first line is, I center myself in truth through the practice of prayer and meditation. Let's say that together. I center myself in truth through the practice of prayer and meditation. The second line is, it is through this practice that I recognize and experience my oneness with God. Together, it is through this practice that I recognize and experience my oneness with God. I call upon my capacities of understanding, wisdom, will, and elimination to live from a consciousness of wholeness and health. That's a lot, but let's try it together. I call upon my capacities of understanding, wisdom, will, and elimination to live from a consciousness of wholeness and health. I hear the universe calling, and I respond as love. Together, I hear the universe calling, and I respond as love. For love is our true nature. The call of the universe is to be love. So I'm going to invite us to take these thoughts, this affirmation, into meditation. And as we begin to do that, as we begin to go into a time of meditation, I invite you to imagine your loved ones around you, sitting with you, feeling the connection heart to heart, knowing that in our oneness we are always connected. The universe begin with that question for a moment. The universe is calling me. How will I answer? As I rest in my oneness, as I feel and experience all that is, as I realize that when I tune into my heart, focusing my attention and my awareness, my heart expands. It may take a moment, allowing myself to breathe in and out through my heart. Allowing myself to be, to settle my mind. And when my thoughts are racing, to shift, to make that shift, so that I can use my will and I can choose the thought I want to think. I am divine. I am one with the one. I am magnificent. I am radiant health. I am wholeness. I am light. I am love. I am love. I am love. And I have within me in this moment and in every moment all that I need to unfold, to make the next right step, to engage in knowing of what is next for me. And I give thanks. And so we take these words into the sacred and holy silence. Resting in your heart, feeling deeper, allowing yourself to know that you are truly in the flow of life. See if you can make it more intense and bigger for yourself. Expanding, calling forth your capacity, that power of understanding, to know that experience of oneness. Allowing wisdom and love to move together. Sort through all that you know. Wisdom is that energy of love, of a memory that has no more emotional trigger. We can look back on it and simply be grateful for what our experience is and know that we came through it with flying colors, with your favorite color. Using our will to choose our thoughts. An elimination to release fear, to release anxiety, to release the anger as we embrace all that is, as we get willing to face what's before us, knowing through our wisdom that we can choose in every moment, because the infinite has the answer, and the answer is within us. If you can generate the feeling of gratitude coming from your heart. Gratitude and love, some of the highest frequencies on this planet. And then beginning to bring your awareness back into this moment, to this time and place, the time and place where you are. But knowing that as we bring these awarenesses back to us, as we come back into the sense of being in the world, we never leave what we've generated in meditation. It comes with us. It has changed our very essence in consciousness, uplifting, supporting, guiding, becoming all that we were called to be as we answer the call of the universe. The disciples asked Jesus to teach them to pray. That was their call to the universe to say, how do I show up differently in the world in the midst of what's going on around us? And what Jesus answered was what we know as the Aramaic Lord's Prayer, translated from the Aramaic into English. I'm going to invite you to say it with me, to really feel the words as we generate the knowingness within us, as we step in by the power of our words to feeling this prayer. Together, Father, Mother, birther and breath of all, create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire then flows through ours as energy fills all forms. Give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment. Untangle the knots of error that bind us as we release others. Don't let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act appropriately. From you, age to age, flow the glorious harmonies of life. May these statements be fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen and amen. It's a powerful statement. May these statements be fertile ground from which our future grows. We are stepping into a new world, a new way of being, a new energy, a new experience of our own divinity. So as we do that, we invite you to begin to look at a new way of giving. If you were here, we would thank you for your offerings, which we do even wherever you are, and we would pass a basket. But I'm not so good at passing the basket across time and space yet. So we have several ways of giving that we've listed here. Okay. We have, there we are, giving options. UnityofWilmington.com. You can donate through the donate button that's way at the bottom of the page, but you can still donate there. Unity of Wilmington Facebook page. There's a donation button that in a picture that we posted and tried to pin up there, so you might have to scroll down a little, but it is there. And then you can mail us a check at 717 Orchard Avenue in Wilmington, 28403. New ways of giving, new ways of doing things. We appreciate your donations, your generosity. We appreciate that you have a willingness to give that allows us to continue to be present with you in different ways than we're used to find that learning curve of how to connect heart to heart, how to be present with each other, even at social distancing. So thank you very much for your gifts and offerings. Oh, I forgot the blessing part. Join me in our blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
So it's like, come on in, welcome home. I am as God created me. I walked and I walked. Now is the time for all people from every land. Let there be peace on earth. Okay, feel better now. Today's daily word is power. I am power. You are power. We are in community with power. The affirmation is on the clicker that I was supposed to be in charge of. Okay, you know, it's like doing service in a whole new way. Oh, I forgot to bless the offertory.
Go back.
As I demonstrate grateful giving, I am an open channel through which prosperity flows. I am blessed. Unity of Wilmington is blessed. The world is blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. And now, the daily word. Dun, 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 dun. I take dominion over my thoughts, words, and actions. What a beautiful way to put those 12 powers that Nikki highlighted into action. Understanding, wisdom, will, elimination. I take dominion over my thoughts, words, and actions. Let's say that together. I take dominion over my thoughts, words, and actions. Whew. There are lots of ways to pray that you're going to hit on in the announcements and the later thing, but the request is.
What we're requesting of you is if you would like to join us in spirit in a unique way, send us a picture to RevMindy@unitywill.com. And what we're going to do is we're going to print out that picture, and on your assigned seat, those members who are here weekly, we're going to put your picture right on your seat. And for those of you who are new, you're more than welcome to send your picture in, and we're going to put you in your own very special seat.
So we don't have assigned seats, but I know you sit in the same place every week. I really do. So I'm going to put Sue Gallagher's picture right there. I'm going to put Lainey's picture. Well, Lainey sits all over, so I might put her in several places. But I'm going to put Wendy Miller right over there. So wherever you usually sit at Hewer, we're going to have the choir right up here. Send us your picture, and we will have you in the room with us as we do Facebook Live next week. That'd be awesome. All right, Facebook. Lots of ways to connect. We have started a Radiant Health series. The first one was with Tina, Reverend Nikki, and myself. Take a tune into that. We talked about a lot of things, but we talked about rainbows and posting pictures and noticing rainbows wherever we look. We're posting inspirational memes. We're posting affirmations that you can share. It's one more way of connecting. If you want to be on our e-blast, go to our website, sign up for our newsletter. That'll be another way. Posting videos, all kinds of things. Thank you for staying connected with us.
Yes, connection is important. And one of the things I would like to speak about is unlimited potential. Please remember through these times how unlimited you are. The only limitation we have is what we put in front of us. And so by remembering that you're always connected with us, whether you're here or not, or even what you can do and achieve, just remember that, because you're in all of our prayers, as we know, vice versa. But you're unlimited. The sky's the limit. Raise the roof.
Raise the roof, as Reverend Nikki says. We'd like to take this opportunity to bless our children and the children of the planet. The children of our planet, because they are the future. They are the way that our humanity will continue. So we say together, children, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. A number of ways to connect in prayer.
Yes, which I'm excited about. You can give us a call and leave a message. Another way is when you go on our website, there is a button on there that you can fill out and send a little prayer. We have a prayer box when normal time. Otherwise, you can email Reverend Nikki. What's our other one? Oh, Silent Unity. I've used that one several times myself. I love that one, besides the emailing Reverend Nikki when I'm not available to call her or see her. So please, any concerns, even hoorays, we love to pray for hoorays as well, or just to say hi in a different way. Please fill out one of these ways, and one of us will get back to you. Reverend Nikki.
If you are wanting that personal connection, we've got a plan to call people, but we can only call you if we know your name and number. So on our website, in that prayer space where that has, how may we pray with you, here's my prayer request, go ahead, put your name and number, and one of us will call you back so that you can remember, as Farrah is saying, you are not alone. Even when you're lonely, you are not alone. Well, we'd like to end the service with our prayer for protection, and then Nikki will give us a benediction. Together we say, the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine.
And affirm with me together as we close, the universe is calling, and I respond as love. Together,
the universe is calling, and I respond as love.
Have the best week you can. Call us if you want to talk with us, and know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, you are blessed, you are loved, you are divine, and so it is.
And until Nikki goes to push the button, we can do our songs again. Come on in, welcome home, you are loved, you belong here. She's running now because I'm singing. I walked and I walked all night long. I walked and I walked until I saw the light.